Peace and blessings, family. Peace and blessings. Y'all come on in, come on in. Come on in, come on in. So today, we're gonna be working on day 6 of our 7-day fruit and salad challenge. And today is, we're basically gonna be looking to answer any questions that you guys might have regarding what you've experienced throughout this challenge thus far. In our group, we've been seeing we've been getting a lot of feedback from everyone that's been participating. I love the fact that everyone has been posting the foods that they've been consuming. They're posting their blood pressure. They're posting their weight. They're posting a number of things, all that ties into the challenge that we're doing. So I definitely appreciate everyone that's posting and keeping up with the challenge. So today, we're gonna take that time out to answer any questions that you all may have. That way you can continue to get an understanding of the nutrients that plays a role in regulating your blood pressure. So, this is gonna be pretty much a day that's filled with getting that understanding. The last time we were here, the first 3 days actually, we were diving into the 7-day fruit and salad challenge ebook. We read through the ebook, breaking down the essential minerals that are needed to regulate the blood pressure. We talked about the potassium, the magnesium, the calcium, the sodium, the zinc, and how all these things come together. And as we were breaking those down, we were talking about the different foods you can consume in order to get these nutrients, because that's the biggest part of it, making sure that you're consuming the whole foods. That way, you're not only just getting those nutrients, but you're getting all the other essential things that you need, the enzymes, the fiber, the water, all those different things that helps the body as a whole, instead of taking a supplement and isolating those particular compounds. So it's really important that, you just continue to apply these different strategies and implementing more whole foods into your dietary life, your diet and your lifestyle. And this is going to be the beginning steps that you take to help you get control of your blood pressure issues. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the chat. That way we can answer any of those questions directly related to this challenge. So now what I want to go into, I want to get right into one of the biggest factors, which is the removal process of the foods that can contribute to your blood pressure issues. So the reason I want to get into the removal aspect is because in our next challenge, we're going to be talking about it a little bit deeper, the pressure purge challenge. But right now, to optimize the effects of the 7-day fruit and salad challenge, it's important that we remove certain things from our diet. And these things are processed foods in particular. Processed foods, fast foods, all those refined foods. Those are very important to make sure that you're removing from your diet as you're moving forward on this journey to correcting your blood pressure. Reason being, processed foods are high in 3 things: salts, oils, and sugars. And that combination of salt, oils, and sugars, the way it's put together in processed foods, it has a direct impact on not just your blood pressure, but your overall health. So processed foods should be something that's being removed from your diet. And as you move forward, you're going to see the effects of it, and you'll see the effects that it has on your health in a negative way, because when you're consuming processed foods, those salts, oils, and sugars are just causing hell throughout the body in many different pathways, particularly with your blood pressure. And as you withdraw them from the diet, you will see how your pathways of elimination open up, and your body is able to release the toxins that it's holding on to, and some of which are influencing the blood pressure issue. Many individuals that have been participating so far, I've seen the numbers as far as weight loss. Most individuals are somewhere between 4 and 7 pounds at this point in time. And those are all great numbers. We're talking about 6 days into a challenge, you're down 4 pounds, down 7 pounds. Those are all good numbers. So imagine if you continue with this process as you're working towards getting better control of your blood pressure. It's nothing strange to see yourself down 14 pounds in 2 weeks by just simply applying this tactic and strategy to your dietary habits. It's nothing new. And you can see it's a effortless move. All you're really doing is switching up the foods that you're consuming. Excuse me. Switching up the foods that you're consuming and making sure that you're just removing those things that are problematic. And when you eat more fresh whole foods, more fresh fruits, and more fresh vegetables, the most important thing is that it's giving you the nutrients that you need. And then these are nutrient dense foods. So the calorie level is really, really low, but the nutrients are a lot higher. And when you find yourself being hungry, your body doesn't necessarily want nutrients. I mean, it doesn't want calories. It wants the nutrients. When you give it the right nutrients, that combination of whole foods, this is what leaves you feeling full, satiated. The fiber, the water, it's going to be hydrated, and it's going to do everything that your body needs to do. And what's going to happen is when you give your body these minerals, it's going to be able to break it down, assimilate it properly, and redistribute it to the different cells to help them improve their functions. And when it comes down to the blood pressure, the cells that are most critical for regulating your blood pressure is called your endothelial cells. And the endothelial cells, which is part of your endothelium system, is the protector of your cardiovascular system. And when you're dealing with blood pressure issues, the endothelium system is compromised at this point. So it's really important that we do all the things necessary to rebuild these cells and allow for them to rejuvenate themselves to function at a high level. And that's why providing your body with the nutrients, the potassium, magnesium, calcium, the sodium, the zinc, the antioxidants, all those things are very important for this process. When it comes down to antioxidants helps break down those free radicals that are inside of the body that's damaging to these cells. So when you eat fresh fruits like blueberries, strawberries, or you're eating kale and arugula, the Swiss chard, the different combination of greens that we were speaking about, you're giving your body these antioxidants. And when these antioxidants enter into the body, they're going to war on your behalf. They're going to war on your behalf, destroying these free radicals, eliminating this oxidative stress that's contributing to the damage to the endothelial cells. And when you remove these problems from the body, these cells now can rejuvenate themselves. And when these endothelial cells rejuvenate themselves, one of the first things they start to do is to produce more nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is a molecule that's in your body that's a vasodilator. It dilates the blood vessels. It allows the blood vessels to relax. When they relax, they expand. And when those blood vessels expand, the blood can flow through a lot smoother. So understanding that you want to make sure that you're giving your body these different nutrients in order for it to continue to build itself. Because this is what it is. This is a rebuilding process. A lot of the issues that are related to blood pressure is due to some of the cellular damage that's going on. And the only way you can rebuild the body is by giving it the building blocks. And these building blocks lie inside of the foods that you're consuming. So pulling out the bad foods and putting in the proper foods is going to be how you give your body the building blocks, and your body's going to do exactly what it needs to do. It's no focusing on potassium, no focusing on magnesium, no focusing on antioxidants, and it's no focus. Eat more whole foods, and that's how you give your body the building blocks. Give your body the whole foods. Let your body do the math. And when your body does the math, it's going to send what it needs to each and every place. And in turn, you will see your health get better. And when your health gets better, your blood pressure is going to get better, because your blood pressure is generally like a lagging measurement of your overall health, especially if you're dealing with blood pressure issues. This is a measurement of where your health is. The higher your blood pressure is, typically the worse off your health is currently. So when you start making those necessary adjustments to your lifestyle, you're going to see your health get better, and that blood pressure number is going to continue to come down. But one thing that's important is that we have to understand that when it comes down to these lifestyle changes that we're practicing in these different challenges, we have to understand that this is what I call a team sport. And what I mean by team sport is this: it's not just about your nutritional habits, but also the other areas of your lifestyle play a key role as well. So, moving into your sleeping habits, your movement levels, your stress levels, your relationships, all these different components plays a role in your overall health and your blood pressure. All of these things have a direct impact, because some individuals that are participating in this challenge would not see a great reduction in their blood pressure, because it may not just be a nutritional problem as well. It may be stress related also. It may be a combination of things that are going on. So you have to understand that getting to the root cause of your blood pressure issues requires that you dot your I's, cross your T's, and move forward. You got to be willing to turn over every stone to understand if this is your potential problem. And many of us know our lifestyle. We know if we're stressed. We know if we're not eating properly. We know if we're not getting enough exercise. We know all these things about ourselves. So it's really like this moment where you have to come to yourself and be like, hey, you know, enough is enough. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I'm ready to do something about it. And that's how you get to the root cause of it, by going within yourself and understanding what you're doing that's contributing to the problem. And the main thing about it is you must be willing to press that reset button. So letting go of some of those things that you may know and love that's potentially contributing to the problem is going to be important. Letting go of it for a while to see exactly what's going on. And this is going to guide you through this whole process. So the 7-day fruit and salad challenge was all about understanding the different vitamins and minerals, the role that they play, and getting to understand the foods that you need to be consuming to help you through this process. So we were focusing on the raw version of all these items, you know, making sure that you're having the raw items. That way you get the highest quality of vitamins and minerals. So we should have all been making sure that we're having a combination of these raw foods, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables. We talked about the 3 to 5 servings. Then we also talked about the 1 large salad and the stipulations that come along with it to make sure that you're getting your bang for your buck. And one reason I say bang for your buck is, you know, if I'm going to eat a salad, I want to make sure that it's a nice, healthful salad that's going to give me what I need. You know, I just don't want to be eating this bland salad that's, you know, whatever, and it's not giving you the power punch that you're looking for. And that's why we talked about those critical greens. We talked about the arugula, the Swiss chard, the spinach, you know, the kale, all those different things that are high in all those nutrients. So, you know, preparing them in a specific way that's going to give you all those nutrients and allow you to see those results that you're looking for is going to be critical, because not only is it going to give you those nutrients, but it's high in fiber, and that fiber is going to help you through many different pathways. If you're dealing with cholesterol issues, that fiber is going to push through the colon, push through the gut, pull out the excess cholesterol. It's going to help you in many different ways. So we have to understand, even though this challenge is directly around your blood pressure, this is a lifestyle challenge. This isn't just about, you know, blood pressure and controlling numbers. This is about improving your overall health and getting to the root cause of the problem. Because as you start to make these changes, you're going to see a domino effect of positive things start to happen. The scale is going to come down, the blood pressure is going to come down, you know, the blood sugar is going to come down, cholesterol, all those metabolic factors are going to start to come down, and you're going to see yourself get better control. So now, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in. And what I'm going to go back over now is, well, we went over the whole book actually, but I want to get back into, some of the, probably most likely the different dressings and things, because I think that's the only place I saw a lot of questions that people might have, I saw a lot of questions that people had concerns for when it came down to the dressing. So I'm gonna go back over the dressing situation. That way you guys can find some comfort in there and understand a little bit better, like why this strategy looks this way. And that way you can find that soft spot, because, you know, when you say don't use any store-bought dressings, that leaves you to go into the kitchen and figure it out. And, you know, some people may not be as handy, but, you know, in the recipe book that I provided with you guys, it gives you more than enough options to kind of figure out exactly how to create these dressings. So the rule was no store-bought dressings, no processed dressings. Reason being, the processed dressing has the salt, the oils, and the sugars, 3 things that we need to stay away from. So that means nothing that comes from the store in the bottle, no ranch, no blue cheese, no, I don't even know, no Thousand Islands, no Italian, none of those store-bought dressings, no matter what it is, none of them. And it leads you to actually use your whole foods to create your own dressings. I gave you, I want to say like 7 different dressing recipes that are simple, easy, flavorful. It's really just about finding what suits for you. Most people only use typically 1 or 2 different dressings. So I gave you a different combination of them. That way you can kind of figure out what works for you. One of them was the avocado cream dressing. The other one was I think a raspberry vinaigrette. The one was a tahini style dressing. A number of things that you can simply make in your kitchen with your hands, no special tools, that's going to give you a flavor profile that's going to kind of have paired with the salad that you're creating and allow for you to enjoy it. Because one thing I like to make sure that people are doing, you have to enjoy the foods that you're consuming in order to stick with the plan. Because one thing about it is this: if you don't like the foods that you're eating during this process or this transition, it's going to be very hard to stay consistent. And the thing about these lifestyle changes is consistency is key, because it's all about the gradual progression. It's because you don't just fix these types of problems overnight. You gradually progress to a healthier, happier you. And this gradual progression comes with the understanding and along with the tools to help you get to where you need to be. And these recipes are there to help you incorporate more salads and into your lifestyle. And finding that right dressing is key, but stay away from the processed packaged dressing. That's going to be a big thing. And in our next challenge, we're going to be talking about all those other foods that are causing the blood pressure issues. Because right now we're only adding the beneficial things to our body. We're giving ourselves the building blocks. But one thing that we have to understand is, the first rule of healing is subtraction. You have to remove the problems. You can't necessarily fix anything if you're just throwing stuff at it. If the problem is still there and you're just trying to build on top of it, eventually you're just going to collapse because your foundation isn't strong enough. So when we move into what's called our pressure purge challenge, we're going to be removing and purging all of those things that are contributing to the blood pressure issues. So understanding the salts, the oils, the sugars, how they play a role in the blood pressure, how to maneuver around these things, how to remove them from the diet, what the substitution looks like. Those are all critical components, because you need to build that foundation that's going to be strong enough for you to continue to move forward, especially with the understanding of how this process works. Because again, I don't want you to just take my word for it. Don't just take my word for it because I said it. I want you to understand how it works, put the practice into play, and then see the results from it. Just like you guys been doing with this last 7 days of the fruit and salad, the last 6 days of this fruit and salad challenge, you guys been putting in the work and seeing the results. You posting them inside of the group each and every day. And I'm looking at everyone getting better. The scales coming down, blood pressure coming down. People saying they haven't seen blood pressure like this in the last 8 years, 10 years. These are all signs of you're doing the right thing. But the most important thing is this: do not get complacent, because as soon as you change and start diverting back to the things that were causing the problem, or stop this different strategy, you will see your blood pressure go back up. Now, that doesn't mean that this strategy doesn't work. It means that you have to build your body back up to become resilient to the toxins or the things that's contributing to the problem. Because if you eat health promoting foods, just for a whole week and see the blood pressure get better, that's great. But once you start putting that, have a pizza or burger or whatever it is, you're going to see the reflection, because you're consuming the things that are contributing to the problem. So you have to be willing to go through the process, build the body back up, strengthen the cells, strengthen the organs, increase your processes of elimination, and allow for your body to properly manage the blood pressure on its own through the cycles that it needs to. And this is how you free yourself from the need of pharmaceutical medications. But you cannot do it unless you go through the process of rebuilding. Right now, we're going to go through this whole deconstruction phase of pulling things out, removing things, but rebuilding is one of the key aspects. And this is where all the other areas of your lifestyle comes into play. Not just nutrition, but creating more movement, managing your stress, getting better sleep, making sure you're improving your quality of your relationships. All those factors comes into play. All those things, not including the prerequisites of life, fresh air, sunlight, cleanliness. All those things play a role in your blood pressure. But it's important that you understand where you're coming up short at and continue to get better and build. And remember, it's a journey. It's not a 7 days process. It's not a 2 week process. It's a journey. And most people typically get results that last them, and they get the results that they need to get off this medication in about 45 days. Typically about 45 days, you can see some drastic changes where your doctor's like, hey, okay, let's start pulling things away from you, because it's not me that's going to take you off the medication. It's you and your doctor. You doing the work that you need to do. documenting your journey, getting the results that you need, and your doctor saying, okay, I can see what you're doing. I see your process. I see you making these strides. Now let's work on weaning you off these medications. And we're going to talk about how that process looks when when we keep moving forward. So I see a couple questions in the chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in. But I'm going to go ahead and answer any questions. That way you guys can continue to get an understanding of how it goes. Question, I'm new here. Can you please explain how the fruit and salad challenge says lifestyle are okay for diabetics? Thank you for your time. Yeah, definitely. So if you're dealing with blood sugar issues, let's say you're pre-diabetic or you got diabetes, either one, the fruit and salad challenge is going to help you when it comes down to improving your blood sugar levels, along with all the other metabolic factors that are contributing to this issue. Now, the first question that typically comes up is, well, if I'm eating fruit and fruits have sugar and I have diabetes, isn't this going to cause my blood sugar levels to rise? And that's a great concern, because there's a lot of information about fruits, sugars, diabetes, and all these other things. So understand this, diabetes is not necessarily a problem with sugar. Now, I'm gonna say that again. Diabetes is not necessarily a problem with sugar. Is sugar problematic to diabetics? Yes, but the root cause of diabetes isn't the sugar issues. The sugar is a problem, it's not the root cause. Now, let's see if I got something. Here, boom, got this. Think of this block as your cell, okay? This little white block is your cell. And on top of your cell are little receptors, just like this. These are your insulin receptors. The insulin receptors, basically the insulin comes into the blood, and the insulin hits this receptor. This receptor unlocks the cell, and basically the blood sugar goes inside the cell utilizes it, creates energy, so far, so on. It does what it needs to do. So we have to understand that when you're dealing with diabetes, this cell is all clogged up. Let's see what I got. This cell is all clogged up. So basically, this cell is compacted, and it's usually it's packed up with what's called lipids, triglycerides, and fats, and all this different stuff inside of the bloodstream, basically clogging up the cells to where the insulin, when it tries to go into the cell, it's blocked, and that creates insulin resistance. So now when that insulin can't go into the cell to unlock the cell to let the sugar in, the blood sugar continues to rise, and that's where it gets really dangerous and cause complications. Now, the sugar isn't necessarily the problem. It's the fats that's inside the body that's blocking and covering the cells. Now, could you stop eating sugars and help correct this problem? Yeah, you can stop eating sugars. You can eliminate the carbs and all sources of sugars from your body to help solve this problem. Yeah, can you? Yeah, you can do that, but you're not necessarily fixing what's going on right here, because if I stop eating sugars, then the blood sugar levels are just going to go down, but this problem is still going to be here until I do other things to fix this issue. So understand, when you go into the fruit and salad challenge, what happens is, do you give yourself do you give your body sugars? Yes, you give your body more sugars, but now we have to realize that these sugars are very different from the processed and refined sugars. You're getting complex carbohydrates, complex sugars. You're getting let's say you take let's take a mango. This mango has the fiber, the water, the vitamins, the minerals, the enzymes, everything else that it needs in a complete package. Whereas if I was drinking, let's say if I had a Coke, as a matter of fact, this is cherry juice. Cherry juice is one of those things that's really good for your blood pressure as well. I keep some in the house. I haven't talked about that much yet. But anyways, let's say if this was a Coca-Cola. This Coca-Cola would be filled with refined sugars. And those refined sugars, they contain no fiber, no water, no vitamins, no minerals, no enzymes, nothing else. Cherry juice, processed foods, processed sugars, they don't have anything else. And it's what's called a simple carb, because it's a simple process that it goes through in the digestion, and that simple process causes your blood sugars to spike, and in turn it drops you up and down, and that's where you see the fluctuation in your insulin levels, your blood sugar, that causes a lot of complications. So understanding that whole foods such as fruits, it contains everything that takes your body through a complex process of digestion. So instead of when you consume sugars, your blood sugar doesn't spike. because that whole package, your body has to break it down and assimilate it. It has to break down the fibers to release the fructose that's inside of the sugars. And then it goes through absorption of all the other nutrients and components that are there through the whole digestive process. And what happens is, as your body goes through this process of breaking it all down, now you start to get a gradual rise in your blood sugar levels. And anything you eat, your blood sugar is going to go up regardless. But you see a gradual rise with the fruits that you're consuming, and this is gonna have an impact on your blood sugar. So you're going to see that rise in your blood sugar levels. But what's most important is this. Now that you're giving your body this sugar, you're giving it a high level of sugar, a high quality sugar, the purest form of sugar that your body could possibly use in order to create energy. Now, when your cells get this sugar, not only is getting that high level of glucose coming into its system, but it's also getting the nutrients that it needs to rejuvenate itself as well. So now you're giving your cell all the different antioxidants, the vitamins, the potassium, the magnesium, the different minerals that it needs. And these minerals rejuvenate and wash the cells and allow them to function at a higher level. And the best marker to understand during this process is how your body responds during your next meal. Most people will eat a fruit and see the blood sugar go up and be like, oh crap, I'm not doing that again because my sugar level went high. But the biggest marker to look at is how your body responds to the glucose levels during your next meal, because now what fruit sugars typically do, they give your body the nutrients and the enzymes and everything that it needs, and it helps the cells function at a higher level. And what happens is, when you consume the next meal, whether it's fruits or what other type of hopefully it's more whole foods that you're consuming, your cells are going to respond better to the insulin, to the glucose that's in the system. And you'll see, instead of your blood sugars rising high again, your cells are better able to utilize the sugars properly. So that first time you might come up here, then the next time it's going to come there, then the next time you're going to start seeing more control because of the quality of the foods that you're consuming. So when you're going through this process, it's important that you're making the dietary changes as well, because everything you eat, and it affects your body in many different ways, not just your blood sugar levels, but understanding the overall effect is going to be key. Because if you're just looking at that one spike that you have, you might throw down these blueberries and strawberries and be like, nah, you know what, this is not for me. I don't want to go through this whole process, because again, it could be dangerous. Seeing your blood sugar levels get high, you don't want to go through this process. But understanding that you will see the trend start to get better as long as you're making the necessary dietary changes as well. And when you go on a diet, like let's say a keto diet, where you're just eliminating carbs and you're restricting yourself in certain areas, it gives you many benefits, because to be honest, most people eat too many carbs to begin with. It gives many different benefits, but the goal should be to live in a sustainable lifestyle. That way you're improving your health as a whole, and you're getting to the root cause of the problem. So never be afraid of the fruits, because the fruits they're not the root cause of your issue. The sugar is not the root cause of the issue. It's those little receptors on top of your cells that's covered by lipids, by the different fats that are in the bloodstream, that's keeping the insulin from unlocking the cells to letting the glucose in. So sugar is not the problem with diabetes. Now don't get me wrong, sugars are problematic, but it's not the root cause of it. If you eat sugar, your blood sugar is going to go up. But when you stop eating it, it's going to go down. But it's not necessarily the problem there. The problem are the little receptors on top of your cells that are blocked, and the insulin can't get in there to unlock the cells to let the sugar in. And stopping eating sugar only takes the sugar out of the bloodstream. It doesn't necessarily fix the cells. So getting the cells what it needs, removing those problematic foods, that's going to be how you get to the root cause of these type of issues. But fruit should never be taken away from the diet to prevent that from happening. Now, if you're still concerned about this process, one of the easiest things you can do is start with more simpler fruits, blueberries, strawberries, cherries, blackberries. Those are all fruits that are high in fiber, lower in sugar, and you won't see as big of a rise as if you were eating, let's say, mangoes or what other type of fruits that are higher in sugar. Those berries are going to be a lot simpler, a lot easier, and you'll be able to get the same type of benefits as far as the antioxidants, the potassium, the magnesium, all those different nutrients. So I would definitely say if you're feeling like starting there, that's going to be a great place to start with more berries. But one thing that you should stay away from is try to stay away from the watermelons, the pineapples, and a few other fruits that are really, really high in sugar. And, you know, because those can be a little bit more, they can cause the blood sugar levels to rise a little bit higher than you want to. So it'll be a lot safer to begin with. That way you can test your body out and see what you're comfortable with more the simpler blueberries, strawberries, and things like that. So hopefully I answered that question for you. But fruits are not your enemies when it comes down to it. There's a lot of information that talks about, you know, fruits and sugars and diabetes. But trust me, fruits are not your enemy. The root cause of your diabetes issue is those cells that's right on top of your insulin receptors that are right on top of the cells. And matter of fact, I'm looking on my shelf right here, and I'm going to give you a couple tools to help you get a better understanding of this. Let's see. So I got one book here, and I know I got another couple of them somewhere around here. And probably on my other shelf. I guess I'll start with this one here. Yeah, so this book here is by Dr. Neil Barnard, Reversing Diabetes. Neil Barnard wrote this book. He's a leader in this field talking about diabetes, and he breaks down some basic understanding of the foods that you should be consuming and just how the body works when it comes down to dealing with diabetes. So this is a great read for anyone that's dealing with blood sugar issues. Reversing Diabetes by Dr. Neil Barnard. I'm gonna put this a little bit closer. This is a great book here to read. This is a whole food plant-based book, and it goes deep into the whole cycle of understanding diabetes. And just to make sure that y'all know that I'm not biased about this process, let me pull up this other book really quick as well. Here we go. And I think I got them right here. I know there's one more I'm missing, but I think this is good enough. Yeah, all right, cool. So as I was diving into, mind you, I dealt with this whole pre-diabetic things myself. So I went through this whole process of deep diving, trying to understand all these things. I read over 10,000 pages of medical literature, from books to medical studies talking about the different processes of understanding blood sugar, blood pressure, all those different things. Dr. Neil Barnard by far has one of the best breakdowns of understanding diabetes. The next one that I went into, matter of fact, another one that I went into was the Diabetes Code by Jason Fung. Now, by Dr. Jason Fung. Now, the thing is this. These are two different spectrums. This is a whole food plant-based book, and this is a ketogenic book. Two doctors that clash on the information that they're giving. This guy says eat meat and eat fats and all these other things and don't eat fruits. This guy says eat fruits, eat vegetables, don't eat meat, and lay off the cholesterol and the other things that are contributing to the problem. So these are two different spectrums of information, but one thing that comes in consistently with these is understanding processed foods and understanding what's at the root cause of the problem. And one of the last things is understanding fasting, because fasting is something that they both put together to help you bring those blood sugar levels down. And also The End of Diabetes by Joel Furman. This is another book that I put inside the collection of me understanding my blood sugar levels and what I need to do. And to be honest, reading these three books, and I probably got 2 or 3 more that's over there, it led me to the space of understanding your blood sugar levels all have to do with your cells. And fixing those cells requires that you give your body the nutrients that it needs. And those nutrients are going to come in the form of whole foods. Eliminating processed foods, eating more whole foods. And going through these different books allowed me to get a better understanding of that. So don't be afraid of fruits. Don't be afraid of these whole foods. If you want to take it easy, fresh berries are going to be the best place to go. And you will see how your body responds. But most importantly, making sure that you're eliminating those problematic foods is going to be key. Oh man, that's tart. All right, I'm keep moving forward. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat as well, because I try to just give as much understanding that I can and help people just, understand the strategies that's available for them to get to the root cause of the problems that they're experiencing. So, there's different things out there, but one of the biggest problems I noticed that most people have is letting go of some of the information that they have and giving things a try. If something doesn't work for you, oh man, that sucks. But be willing to work relentlessly to get to the root cause of your problem. Some of the many things I tried, it didn't work. I was up and down, yo-yoing. But one thing that you don't want to do is yo-yo through any type of diet, any type of lifestyle change or whatever. You don't want to yo-yo. You want to find something that works for you, that you can be consistent with, and you want to max it out to as far as you can. And that's why I talk so much about documenting your journey, because if you're documenting your journey, you can see how things work for you. And if you're trending in the right direction, numbers coming down, weight coming down, everything's getting better, you know what you're doing, how it's working, and you can see the trends happening. And that's going to be your motivational factor of like, yeah, fasting works, I'm gonna keep doing this. Or yeah, this fruit and salad chop works, I'm gonna go ahead and keep doing this. This is going to keep your gears turning, because one, you're getting results. Two, you know how you're getting the results, and you can easily replicate it week after week after week. And then when you go to a birthday party, you have a drink and some cake and do some stuff you probably wouldn't necessarily do, boom, you see what you did. And you be like, dang, my blood pressure is back up a little bit from, where I was the past day. I'm probably not going to do that no more, because I see how it can have a negative effect on me, and I need to get off this medication. So you keep working in the right direction. Documenting your journey is going to allow you to see that. If you're just making changes and you're shooting up shots, but you're not recording what you're making and what you're missing, it's going to be very hard to see exactly what you need to do. Here we go. Marianne Nettles, people were also concerned that everyone is doing raw until 4 p.m., not understanding that raw until 4 p.m. is a strategy, not a requirement. Right, exactly. So raw until 4, which is the second strategy, the intermediate strategy for the challenge, it's a strategy. It's not a requirement for the challenge. The challenge was 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruits and 1 large salad with the whole stipulations that we talked about. The raw until 4 part was a step up for the individuals that were ready to dive a little bit deeper. And basically how that looks, again, fresh, raw, whole foods only until 4 p.m. And from 4 p.m., you can have your cooked items that basically fall under the same whole food plant-based guidelines. And following that strategy, you can really catapult your results. But main thing is, it was a strategy to choose from. You had 2 different strategies, a beginner and an intermediate. So hopefully you found one that was comfortable for you and you stuck with it. That way you can see that. But the raw until 4 wasn't a requirement. It was basically just a strategy that's there for you to pick and choose from if you wanted to step it up a notch. And that way you could get things kicking a whole lot faster. And that's the reason why I like to give different options, because some individuals may be comfortable with the basic 3 to 5 servings of fresh fruits and a salad added to their diet. And then you got those individuals that are motivated, that's probably been in the other challenges that I've had, and they're like, yeah, I did the 7-day fruit and salad challenge. Let me step it up a little bit and get better results and continue to move the needle in different areas. And that's what the raw until 4 challenge was. So hopefully we found that soft spot, and individuals were able to get the results that they need. I have tried the avocado dressing and the apple cider dressing. They both are excellent and tasty. Boom, there you go. Thank you, Mr. Walker, man. I appreciate that. And I try to give you guys the combinations to kind of pick and choose. You got an apple cider dressing, which gives you more of a zesty, tangy taste. And the avocados, 2 totally different spectrums. So you really can fall where you want to be or where you're comfortable with. Because myself personally, I like a zesty, savory type dressing or an earthy type dressing, either or. I don't really like anything else in between. So usually I'm typically reaching for one or the other. But our taste buds are all different. So I put combinations that are there. That way you can make it to your liking. And if you're someone that don't like avocados, you could just easily swap it out. Put something else in there that you do like and have fun with it. So it's important that you just understand what makes you comfortable. Miss Deborah Scott, please advise if the mushroom coffee rise is okay to drink. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you to begin with, I have very limited knowledge on mushroom coffee, but I'm gonna tell you the important factors that I do know about it. Mushroom coffee has about 50% less caffeine than traditional coffee, which is a good thing. It's less caffeine, and it's less. But one thing about less is this: less doesn't necessarily mean that it's still good. Now, I'm not saying mushroom coffee is bad for you, but sometimes the elevated caffeine levels can contribute to an increase in your blood pressure. And although it's only 50 milligrams compared to, I think, the 100 milligrams of traditional coffee, that still can affect certain people in different areas. And it may cause your blood pressure to be elevated. It may not. It's so many different factors that all depend on the individual that's important. But the only way you can actually know if it's part of your blood pressure issues is by removing it for a week or two and seeing how your body responds. That's going to be the best way, because if you take it out and your blood pressure does this as you start to flatline and be at a better pace, I'll probably tell you that, hey, that little bit of caffeine was probably doing something for you. And, and vice versa, you might take it out and might not see much of a difference. And that lets you know that it's not necessarily your problem. But one thing about caffeine is this: caffeine, although it doesn't cause high blood pressure, it causes your blood pressure to rise. And that elevated blood pressure can last as long as the life of the caffeine is inside of your body. Depending on, like, regular caffeine can stay, I think, anywhere between 6 and 8 hours inside of the system. That's just one cup. If you have 2 cups, you're stretching it out from the time you had one at 8 o'clock and another at 12. That time frame resets and it carries over into your life. So understanding that throughout the day, if you're drinking caffeine, the blood pressure rises and it stays elevated for no particular reason throughout the day, simply because how the caffeine impacts the nervous system and how that translates into the blood vessels and the blood flow that causes the blood pressure to rise. So my thing about it, Ms. Scott, is mushroom coffee has less caffeine in it. The caffeine is the only problem with coffee, with any type of coffee. So I would just say, if you're dealing with blood pressure issues and it's problematic and you're trying to get off the medication, just remove the coffee for a time frame to see how it affects you, and then understand how you want to move forward from there. If you want to switch to any type of decaffeinated coffee, that's fine. I haven't seen any medical literature that says decaf has a direct impact on blood pressure. It's all just about the caffeine that's there. Because it's one thing is this: it's something particularly, one of the studies I was reading, it's something particularly about the coffee itself and the caffeine. So that could be some insider information too. It's something about the coffee itself and the caffeine that gives that stimulating effect that contributes to the blood pressure issues as well. But the main thing is just you have to do a little bit of internal research yourself, because every individual it's a little bit different, but you'll be able to see results as you make those changes in real time, and that'll let you know how to move forward, basically. So hopefully that was enough information to help you. Thank you for giving me hope. What cleans up the receptors? Should I wait to start fruits until after the receptors are clean? Yeah, so fasting is the best way. Fasting allows for your body to cleanse itself and basically remove all those, basically do all that rejuvenating that it needs to do. The best thing when you're dealing with blood sugar issues and diabetes, the fasting needs to be understood and controlled, because you don't want to go into hypoglycemia. So understanding that you want to create a fasting window for yourself. Ideally, this window should start at 12 hours. You stop eating at 8 o'clock at nighttime. You don't eat again till 8 o'clock in the morning. That gives you 12 hours of eating, 12 hours of fasting. That allows for you to actually just bring balance. And during that balance time frame, your body's going to be able to cleanse itself, utilize all the glucose, everything that's inside of the system. And by the time 8 o'clock comes in the morning, you start back eating, and your body's going to be able to continue the cycle, but rebuilding. So during that eating window, you want to make sure that you're eating the more health promoting foods that's going to be the building blocks to help cleanse and build the body and give it the nutrition that it needs to help build the cells back up. That way those insulin receptors receptors can now function at a high level, bring those nutrients in, bring the insulin in, and start getting the glucose through the system a lot more efficiently. So understanding that fasting process is very important, but what you're doing after the fast is key. So once you get consistent with the 12-hour fast and you see how your body responds, now you can increase the fasting window. You start from 12 hours, then you want to go to 14 hours. Do that for a couple days, see how your body responds. One thing about your body is this: it's going to get better as you get consistent with the strategy. Do 12 hours for a week or so, move on to 14 hours, see how your body responds. 14 feels good and comfortable, move to 16 hours. Start seeing how your body responds, and you can continue to get better and build the body up, because as you see you getting stronger in the fast, that means your insulin resistance is getting under better control, and your body's utilizing the blood sugars more efficiently, and you're not experiencing that drop in blood sugar that's going to cause the hypoglycemia and contribute to, you know, some of the issues that comes with having diabetes. So it's important that you apply that fasting strategy. Apply it with I'm sorry, I'm looking up here for this book that I could probably try to pull up for you guys. Grab it. Yeah, I got a lot of books though. Yeah, you can apply the fasting strategy, and that's going to help you move forward. This book here, The Complete Guide to Fasting, this is a great beginner's book when it comes down to fasting. You get it on Amazon. It's written by Dr. Jason Fung, one of the guys that created this the other diabetes book. The thing about this book is this. This is a ketogenic book. And although, you know, I'm the type of person that reads the information, I analyze what works. I look at not just the doctors, but I look at all the studies that they reference. I went through the medical literature, and I'm not necessarily biased about whose choice or whose pathway that they're using. This guy here focuses on keto. This guy here focuses on nutrients. The other guy there focuses on whole foods. I look at the different tactics and strategies that work. And what I was able to pull out of this book is the different fasting strategies that a person dealing with diabetes, blood sugar issues, whatever, they can apply. And although I don't align necessarily with his nutritional approach after the fast, everything that he says in this book about fasting is spot on when it comes down to what these other guys say in many different areas. The same fasting information applies, especially to a person dealing with blood sugar issues. So The Complete Guide to Fasting, this is something that you can pick up simply on Amazon, maybe $10. This is a great read for intermittent fasting, alternate day fasting, extended fasting, things like that. A great read for that. The main thing is, again, I don't necessarily align with the nutritional strategies, but the information that you need as far as fasting and your blood sugar levels is definitely there, and it's very beneficial to help you keep moving forward. Let's see. I'll get the book. So glad I came across this. Awesome. Miss Rita Holland says she wants popcorn. Popcorn is cool. I don't have no beef with popcorn. Only thing, if you eat popcorn, make sure you follow the guidelines. No oil, no salt. And the best way to do that is get an air popper, get some organic popcorn, and whatever spices you put on top of it is cool. Usually nutritional yeast works with the kids. It gives it like a nice cheesy flavor. But popcorn is cool. Popcorn is actually one of a health promoting snack when it comes down to calories, nutrients, and it's actually on the better side if you prepare it properly. Ironically, looking at all those different studies, it shows, you know, the benefits of it. But you got to prepare it right. No oil, no salt, and all the other stuff that compromises it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it down low in the chat. And the main thing is, again, this is day 6 of the 7-day fruit and salad challenge. But most importantly, you know, hopefully everyone is sticking to it and they're getting the strategies and tactics done to make sure that they're in alignment to get the results that they're looking for. Because again, the ultimate goal of these different challenges that we're doing is to get to the root cause of our blood pressure issues and work our way off of the pharmaceutical medications. Because again, we went through these whole series of challenges last summer, and we've got amazing results across the board from individuals that just stuck with the process. They were able to get their weight down, get the blood pressure under control, and get off of the pharmaceutical medications. So simple as that. Just keep going, but understand the tactics and strategies that we're applying. I better start over. I have been eating the wrong food. My pressure is high often when you wake up in the morning. Yeah, that can be part of the process. If you're eating the wrong foods, you're gonna see that reflect in your body, your blood pressure, and your overall health. Because typically in the morning, your blood pressure starts to rise anyways. Because when you wake up in the morning, your heart has to pump the blood to your extremities to get your body going. So the blood pressure is going to automatically start to rise. But if you're constantly eating the wrong foods, you're putting a bigger burden on your body as well. So that blood pressure is going to be higher than you actually want it to be. So, just making sure that you're in alignment with the different strategies is going to be very important. Miss Kelly says the strategy raw until 4 works for her. Awesome, man. That's one of the best strategies. And for the individual that's pretty busy, that might skip breakfast anyways, raw to 4 is pretty easy. Typically, well, what I've been doing lately is I completely fast until 4 o'clock. And my eating window is typically between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I just do simply like this 1 meal per day, but it's like a 4-hour eating window. I'm basically eat everything during this time frame that I'm going to eat. 8 o'clock comes around, shut it down again all the way to 4 o'clock. And that's a strategy, that's a fasting strategy that I use for myself. But, raw until 4 is a great thing. You get all the nutrients that you need from the morning time, all the building blocks, the highest level of nutrients, and it just builds the body up. There's no limit to what you can eat. It's just as long as it falls in that guideline, you could get some really, really good good results from it. What's a good whole foods bread? Good question. The best bread that you will find. Now, bread is one of those things that very subjective. And the reason I say it's subjective is this. If you need to lose weight, you should probably stay away from bread, because when you're eating the bread and those carbs, it's not going to be easy to just keep that scale moving in the right direction. And some people like to have, a sandwich or, different dishes with, bread and things like that. But if you're trying to lose weight, stay away from bread. But if you're someone that's on their journey and, your weight is not an issue that you're dealing with, one of the best types of bread you can find is like, a whole grain seeded bread. And basically that's like a bread that has like, the different seeds that's filled with the omegas that are good for cholesterol and blood sugar and antioxidants and things like that. And it's just a whole grain bread. That's the main thing you need to take from it. A whole grain bread, but you want to make sure that you check the ingredients on it, because most breads, whole grain or not, they typically have a lot of salt, oils, and sugars. I've only found one bread that I'm comfortable enough with consuming, and I've only found one bread that I'm comfortable enough consuming if I didn't make it myself. And this one bread typically comes from Sprouts. It has no oils, it has no added sugars, but it is a low sodium bread, meaning that it has some small amounts of salt inside of it. And when you do the math, it really doesn't add up to much when you break down the slices that are there. So the main thing is, if you're going to consume bread, make sure that you fit the profile for it. So if you're dealing with weight issues and that's something that you're trying to lose weight, stay away from bread. Simple as that. But if you're someone that's just trying to find a healthier alternative and weight is not a concern, a whole grain bread tends to fall in the right category. Just make sure that it's no salts, no oils, make sure it falls in a category that's safe enough for you to consume when it comes down to salt, oils, and sugar, because it's very hard to find one that doesn't have salt, oils, or sugar. And for probably about almost 3 years, I wasn't consuming any bread whatsoever. So, you just got to figure out where you are on your spectrum with your lifestyle and your journey. But again, my biggest takeaway is if you're trying to lose weight, stay away from the bread. And if you're just trying to implement some more healthier choices as you continue on your journey and weight is not an issue, a whole grain seeded bread, the Ezekiel type bread, I think of Dave's Killer Bread. He has one brand that doesn't have all the other stuff inside of it. And those are all fair ones to use that I haven't seen many complications with. So that's probably the best thing I could throw in there. I'm doing good with my blood pressure, but my diabetes is high. I ate a banana this morning and my blood sugar was 225. Should I take ripe bananas and rice out of the diet? Yeah, both of those can pull out. Ripe bananas and the rice definitely have to come out. The rice, depending on the type of rice that you're consuming, matter of fact, it doesn't even depend on the type of rice that you're consuming. Pretty much all rice does the same thing, but at different levels. So of course, white rice causes the blood sugar to spike. Brown rice is not so bad, but it still does the same thing. when you find the different healthier choices like the wild rice, your body responds a little bit better. One, because wild rice is not necessarily a rice; it's more so of a seed, and it has the nutrients and the fiber and all those things that are very beneficial for your overall health, and it continues to give you those building blocks. So I would definitely say that banana and the rice should probably come out, mainly because as bananas continue to ripen, they get sweeter and the blood sugar levels continue to rise up with that. So just be mindful of that. So certain fruits, again, if you're diabetic, just be mindful of certain fruits, because again, those things can all be a little bit tricky, especially when you're looking at those numbers. But we have to understand that everything that you consume will impact your blood sugar levels. But being more mindful and being more in control is going to be key, because you're having a banana and you're also having the rice. They're both going to send you up there. And then now it's going to look like you're just out of whack. So be mindful of your dietary choices as a whole, and this will help give you more insight. But I definitely say pull those two out, get more simple, get those more of those berries that are going to be more they're going to be better for you to manage, and you'll start seeing better numbers when it comes down to it as a whole. Let me see, Ezekiel bread, yep. Dave's killer bread, yep, those fall in there. Be careful with Dave's, he got a lot of different ones. I think what I like most about Dave's is when he doesn't use oil, when he doesn't use sugar, he uses fruits to actually sweeten it, and he doesn't do it by concentrate. It's actually, you can see the actual apples or whatever he uses inside of it. So he got some good ones there. He also got some bad ones, so make sure you read the labels. I think the one that was the best was the red package. So if you're familiar with Dave's, you know you got all these different colored packages, but the red package, I don't know the exact name of it, but that was one that was actually okay. So, you know, it's a lot of options out there, but just being mindful of your choices. But most importantly, when you document your journey, you're going to be able to see how your body responds to what you're doing. And if you're trying to lose weight, again, stay away from the bread. It's not worth it. Get yourself through this process. And if you decide to apply bread to your lifestyle after you've gotten through this whole process and corrected these issues and got better control, then so be it. But make sure you maintain control. Like, I just started eating bread again this summer, mainly because I opened a pizza shop at the farmer's market. If I wouldn't have opened a pizza shop, I wouldn't have had a piece of bread for the last 4 years. And the only reason I opened the pizza shop because my wife at the time wanted a restaurant. So, you know, it's a whole another story, but you know, it's different things, but be mindful of that bread. Miss Kim Carter, I've lost 5 pounds and my pressure is around 112/70. Mornings and evenings, I'm afraid to take my blood pressure medication. It's never been this low, even with 2 medications. Now, Miss Kim, this is very important for you particularly. Understand this. When you make lifestyle changes, things can turn around rather quickly, which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Things can turn around rather quickly. So, Ms. Kim, my first suggestion for you would be to get on the phone, call your doctor, schedule a doctor's appointment. Schedule that doctor's appointment, and that way, as you continue to go through the process of what you're doing, continue with the fruit and salad challenge, continue adding different strategies that we're doing, continue in the next challenge, continue doing the things that you need to do, but most importantly, document your journey. When you make lifestyle changes and your blood pressure, they work in the same direction. They work to bring the numbers down. So with the changes that you're making, you're seeing a great response to the strategies that you're applying. So this is a sign to show that you probably need blood pressure medication anyways. You probably had just a simple deficiency somewhere in potassium and magnesium or whatever, and now applying these foods to your diet and your lifestyle, your body say, oh, give me that, thank you, I need it. Now we got the blood pressure back under control. Boom, we're rolling just like that. Now, when you take blood pressure medications on top of that, you run the risk of hypotension, with the blood pressure continuing to drop. So you made the lifestyle changes, blood pressure dropped down. You take medications, the blood pressure goes down too low. That's where it gets dangerous at. You want to avoid that. So get on the phone, call a doctor, schedule a doctor's appointment. Standard doctor's appointment, nothing special. Standard appointment. Make sure you document your journey of what you're doing, because you've already lost. You're already losing weight. You already lost 5 pounds. You're going through the process. Document your journey. Show up to the doctor's appointment. Hey, I've been making lifestyle changes. This is what I've been doing. Blah, 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 blah. This is my whole spread. What else do you need from me to get me off of these pharmaceutical medications? Your doctor's going to give you 2 answers. He's going to say, oh, Kim, that's great. I love the numbers. keep doing what you're doing. Show up with a BMI that says 27. Keep your blood pressure like this for another month. I'll pull the medication. He's going to say that. Or they're going to be the type of doctor that says, yeah, that's great, but you're going to be on blood pressure medications the rest of your life. You're going to get two type of doctors. One doctor that says you're going to be stuck on medication, the one that's going to be willing to work with you to get you off the medication. If your doctor says you're going to be on medications for the rest of your life, my advice, get a second opinion. If the doctor tell you what he needs from you to help you get off the medication, now you know, okay, I need to lose 15 more pounds. I need to have my blood pressure like this in another 45 days. You know what you need to do. And now you're already in the process of getting off the medication and improving your health. Stick with it. And this is how you work your way off of the pharmaceutical medications, by being consistent with it. So again, main thing, call a doctor, get that appointment scheduled, and continue to move forward through the process. You know, don't be afraid of what you're doing. You're in the right ballpark. But now it's just about having the right strategies to continue to put it all together and get what you're looking for. Because again, these challenges, the goal is to get off the medication. That's the goal. We're trying to get off the pharmaceutical medications by applying these different tactics and strategies. Now, once you start getting numbers like what you're getting, bye-bye medication. As simple as that. And usually the doctors pull one first, and then they see how you do it and pull the other. And then, you know, that just confirms it, because the doctors want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do on your end, because they can't take the medication for you. All they can do is prescribe it and go. But if they see you making those lifestyle changes, you're documenting your journey, you're telling them what you're doing, and you're getting results, one, they're going to be like, yep, I'm doing my job. I'm doing right. I got 100% patient compliance with this person. They're going to take the glory for it and say, yep, my patient is doing good and she's off medication. And then you get the benefit of actually being off the medication. So it goes both ways. It's a win for your doctor, it's a win for you. But after you come out of this, the most important thing is you continue with the lifestyle changes, because as you continue, your body's going to continue to build itself up, become more resilient, not to just high blood pressure, but to all the other chronic issues that you could be potentially exposed to. And now you're living in a more health promoting lifestyle that's not only good for your blood pressure, but also longevity. You're talking about, you know, your lifespan, you know, the quality of your life as you continue to get older. All those fine print things that most people don't talk about. They talk about getting older, but they don't talk about being 80, 90 years old, still driving your car, still having your independence, still going grocery shopping for yourself, not needing your grandkid or your child to drive you around. Things like that. You know, maintaining your independence as you age should most likely be your ultimate goal when you're going through these different challenges. Getting off the medication, maintaining your independence, functioning at a high level, 70, 80, 90 years old without any chronic issues. And this is a living proof. Cicely Tyson, she died at 94 years old. She was living the same type of lifestyle, 94 years old, comfortable in her bed, died in her sleep. Smokey Robinson, 86 years old. He just got off tour doing all the things. He gave up meat, fish, eggs, and dairy back in Motown days. He's still kicking and juking and jiving at 86 years old. All the rest of them gone. So, you know, understanding that lifestyle changes are key, and the individuals that are making these changes and being consistent with them are having longevity, and they're living at a higher level as they get older, still doing the things that they love to do. And it's not necessarily all about just being 100 years old and doing all this. That's great, but it's about having a higher quality of life. I personally don't want to be 80 years old sitting on my porch hunched over and just can't do anything. I don't want to be that, oh, what am I living for? That's not living. You're just existing. So you want to continue to get old and still be able to, you know, go with your grandson to places, or, you know, function. Simple as that. So Miss Carter, continue what you're doing. I think those are great results that you got. Make that doctor's appointment, and then definitely continue to move forward from there. Let's see. What's the name of the bread from Sprouts? It's from the Sprouts Bakery. Sprouts has a bunch of breads there. Most Sprouts have their own bakery section. In the Sprouts Bakery section, you'll see that type of bread that they have there. Remember, just a whole grain version. Look at the back of the package, and it'll give you the layout of what's inside of it, and that'll give you a little bit more understanding. But always go to the fresh baked bread never go to the store-bought bread, the prepackaged store bread, because those tend to have a lot of the preservatives inside of it. So get the store-bought bread. If you have a local bakery in your section, go to the bakery and ask them to, hey, could you do this for me? No salt, no oils, no sugar, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. They can create it for you. Trust me, that's what bakeries do. Might cost you a little bit more than normal, but that's what they do. And you can find it in that point. I will be traveling for 5 days this week. Do you have any suggestions on the best foods to eat while traveling? I can carry fruit, but the salad will be more difficult. Traveling is always a tough thing. When you're traveling, it's always hard. Me personally, every time I travel, especially when I go up north, I have a hard time with fruits, along with any fresh greens as well. Typically, I always go raw, meaning that I do more raw foods throughout the traveling period. But I think the best option would be to continue to be mindful, depending on what, matter of fact, it all depends on where you're at on your journey, but being mindful is going to be very key. And one thing that you have to understand is this: what you do 5% of the time doesn't necessarily make up for the other 95% of your lifestyle. So if you know, let's say you go through traveling and you're having some hiccups and you can't find the things that you typically find, and you make some subpar decisions, just know that negative impact that you have, you know, you can always continue to get better or do better once you get in more comfortable areas. Because when you're traveling, there's a lot more dining out. There's a lot more, you know, interaction with family members that may not be in the same dietary habits and lifestyle, and you might not find the things that you're accustomed to. So outside of picking up those things that you are comfortable with, the fresh fruits and some vegetables and things here and there, maybe a salad from one of your local places, just be mindful of what you're consuming and keep it to a minimum. Like I had a gentleman that I do personal coaching with. He went to a family reunion last week. And not family, he went to a class reunion last week, and he ended up staying for like 2 weeks. And he was like, yo, I'm in this place and it's a nightmare. I'm not comfortable with my food choices, but you know, I'm keeping it to a minimum because, you know, one, he didn't want to be a party pooper, and he was just kind of hanging out and meeting old friends. So he kind of like kept it to a minimum, and he typically wasn't drinking. He had one drink, or he was doing like little things to stay mindful and making sure he was still documenting the journey, seeing his blood pressure and seeing how his body would respond. So the main thing I can say is be mindful as you move through this whole process. Make the best decision in that particular moment. Let's say we do go to a restaurant, opt for a nice salad and see if they can create something that's for you. If you're dining out, one of the best things you could do is pick the place before you actually get there, especially if it's a higher end place. Pick the place before you get there, and when you check out the menu, you can see what your options are. That way, you know, you could be a little bit more comfortable with the dietary changes that you're making. But to every individual, it really just depends on the spectrum that you're on. But having more raw foods during this time frame is going to be one of the best things that you could do. There we go. I'm gonna take a few more questions. I actually went 7 minutes over. Typically, I like to keep it for an hour, but I'm gonna take a few more questions. Here we go. Let's see. I see Marta Glover. I need to gain weight. I'm about 138 pounds and 5'5". You're actually right in the right ballpark where you're at. Based off your BMI and where you're at, there's no need to really gain anything unless you want to for aesthetics. But it looks like you're right where you need to be. Tim Fox. What if you get high potassium at times when getting lab work? This is typically could be related to your kidneys. If you see potassium levels are elevated during lab work, this could be related to your kidneys. There's a few other biomarkers that need to be compared with it to round off this whole function, like your creatinine levels and things like that. But usually could be related to kidney issues and how well your kidneys actually functioning, because typically when the potassium levels start to back up in the system, the kidneys are not excreting it properly the way that it needs to. And it could be a number of things, but it all depends on the consistency behind it, how elevated it is, and what your doctor actually sees as well, because you could be taking a specific medication that could probably play a role in this, or it could be your hydration levels at the time. It could be a number of things. But the main thing is, if you have a potassium issue, your doctor will usually red flag it and give you a breakdown of what it is. If your doctor didn't give you a specific problem with it, it could be related to something else that you guys might have already spoken about. But the main thing is, usually when you see potassium levels elevated in the blood, it's usually something happening with the kidneys and their level of functioning. They're not functioning at the highest level to cleanse the potassium from the system, and it begins to back up into it. And that's just a chronic sign of the progression of high blood pressure. So make sure that you're locking in with some of these lifestyle changes. And if you start to see these levels continue to rise, which, you know, your doctor will be right on top of that if you're getting blood work done, you know, knowing that you need to buckle down on these different tactics and strategies are going to be key. So that's going to be a big part of it. This is the last question I'm going to take right now. Here we go. Can I drink green tea in the morning? Yeah, green tea is fine. It's full of a lot of phytonutrients that are great for blood pressure, overall health. But the main thing is just double check the caffeine levels in it. Green tea comes on a big spectrum. Some of it is here and then some of it is there when it comes to caffeine, because they want to give you that kick to make it feel like a great substitute for coffee, which it is. But some of those brands just on just as much caffeine as coffee. So we have to understand where we're at on that spectrum, making sure that you have a quality green tea that you're consuming, making sure that whatever you're sweetening it with or putting inside of it falls within the same guidelines as well. Those are going to be key. But green tea is typically in a safe spot when it comes to an alternative for coffee. But make sure that you're understanding the caffeine levels is going to be ideal. That way you don't get yourself in a position where, you know, you're swapping out one bad for something that's just as bad as well. So that's the kind of fine line that's in there. But typically most green teas are usually okay with that process. So I think that was the last question. Dandelion tea is good as well, Miss Kelly. I think that's the last question. Tomorrow we'll be back again, rounding off the 7-day fruit and salad challenge. For those of us that are still participating, make sure you're documenting your journey, putting everything inside of the system. As far as, you know, posting for your accountability, your weight, your blood pressure, you know, all those fun things that we're talking about. That accountability is going to be really, really important. That way you can continue to move forward. So we're ending the 7-day fruit and salad challenge tomorrow, and we're going to open up the doors for the pressure purge challenge. I'll be breaking down the pressure purge challenge to give you guys an understanding of how that works. And we're going to open the doors. That way we can continue moving forward with these lifestyle changes. And one thing about it, I like to have these strategies week over week over week. That way you can get the ball rolling. Once you get some momentum, start seeing some results, and it's like, oh, I'm rolling, I'm going, I'm making some lifestyle changes. Now you're gaining ground and you can get to the end goal again, which is to improve your health and get off the pharmaceutical medication. So with that being said, peace and blessings, everyone. I will see you tomorrow at 7:30 on YouTube. I'll make sure I send you guys the email again, but we're going to close out the 7-day fruit and salad challenge, open up the pressure purge challenge, and we'll keep working on getting to the root cause of the blood pressure issue. So peace and blessings. Take care.